She left the party alone, but didn't drive herself home. Biker followed the car. It was just another humid Friday night in the city. Neon lights flickering, bass thumping from distant clubs, and the usual hum of late-night traffic. But for Jax, it wasn't ordinary at all. By day, Jax delivered packages across town on his weathered motorcycle, memorizing alleyways, back roads, and forgotten corners of the urban maze. By night, he wandered, not aimlessly, but watchfully. He didn't seek trouble, but he never ignored it either. There was something about the quiet rhythm of the city after midnight that spoke to him, like a language only he could understand. And then there was Clara. Every weekend for months, Jax had seen her leave the Velvet Hourglass, a dimly lit lounge tucked between a pawn shop and a shuttered bookstore. She always emerged alone, keys in hand, sliding into her 1968 cherry-red Mustang with practiced grace. The car gleamed under streetlights, a relic of rebellion and elegance, much like its owner. Jax never approached her. He simply noted her presence, the way she scanned the parking lot before getting in, the slight tension in her shoulders. He respected her space, but he also watched. That night, however, was different. Clara didn't walk with her usual poise. She stumbled slightly, flanked by two men in dark suits who moved with unsettling coordination. One held her elbow too tightly. The other whispered something that made her flinch. Jax's gut twisted. Something's off. He watched as they guided her toward the Mustang, not letting her drive, but opening the passenger door for her like a cruel parody of chivalry. The taller man slid behind the wheel. The other climbed into the back seat, leaning close to Clara in a way that screamed control, not comfort. Without thinking, Jax fired up his bike. He didn't call the police, not yet. He knew how long response times could be, especially in the industrial district where those kinds of calls often got deprioritized. Instead, he followed, weaving through side streets and using shortcuts only a delivery rider would know. His heart pounded, but his hands stayed steady on the handlebars. They drove deep into the outskirts, past rusted warehouses and chain-link fences crowned with barbed wire, finally stopping at an abandoned textile factory, its windows shattered, its sign hanging by one bolt. Jax parked a block away and crept closer on foot, keeping to the shadows. Through a broken window, he saw it. The second man gripping Clara's neck, forcing her head down while the driver rifled through her purse. Her eyes were wide with terror, her mouth moving in silent pleas. Jax's blood ran cold. He pulled out his phone and dialed 911, whispering their location and what he'd witnessed. The dispatcher promised help was coming, but Jax knew it wouldn't arrive in time. So he acted. Scaling the fence with calloused hands, he entered the compound like a ghost. Near the loading dock, he spotted a stack of old steel drums. With one hard shove, they toppled with a thunderous crash, echoing through the hollow building like a war drum. The effect was immediate. The men froze, then scrambled. Shouts rang out. "Who's there?" One drew a gun. But before they could investigate, distant sirens pierced the night, closer than Jax expected. Panicked, the men fled through a rear exit, vanishing into the labyrinth of alleys. Jax rushed inside. Clara was slumped against a wall, trembling but conscious. He knelt beside her, speaking softly. "You're safe now. Help's coming." She looked up at him, this stranger in a leather jacket, eyes full of concern, not pity, and for the first time that night, she breathed. When the police arrived, they treated Jax like a suspect. His bike, his appearance, his presence at a crime scene, it all raised red flags. But Clara, voice shaking but clear, told them everything. "He saved me," she said. "If he hadn't followed, I don't know what would have happened." Then came Marcus. Clara's older brother stormed onto the scene like a force of nature, tailored suit, sharp eyes, radiating authority. Owner of a global security firm, Marcus was used to controlling situations, and right now he wanted answers and someone to blame. He glared at Jax, assuming the worst. But Clara stopped him. "Marcus, this man listened when no one else did." Slowly, the truth sank in. Marcus's hostility melted into stunned gratitude. Later at the hospital, he offered Jax a blank check. "Name your price," he said. Jax shook his head. "I didn't do it for money." Marcus studied him, the humility, the quiet strength, and saw something rare. "Then let me offer you something better," he said. "A place on my team. Your instincts, they're a gift. Use them to protect others." 4 years later, Jack sits in a sleek office overlooking the city skyline, not as a delivery driver, but as head of risk assessment for Virel Security Group. He trains agents to notice the subtle signs, the flicker of fear in someone's eyes, the unnatural grip of a companion, the hesitation before entering a car. He teaches them that courage isn't always loud. It's often a whisper that says, "This isn't right." Clara, meanwhile, has rebuilt her life with fierce determination. She founded the Red Mustang Initiative, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting survivors of stalking, abduction, and coercive control. Her vintage car, now restored and displayed at awareness events, has become a symbol: beauty surviving brutality, freedom reclaimed from fear. At a recent gala, Marcus raised a glass before a room filled with donors, survivors, and advocates. "To the quiet ones," he said, voice thick with emotion. "The ones who don't wait for permission to do what's right, who trust their gut when the world looks away. Heroes don't always wear capes. They ride motorcycles, deliver packages, and sometimes, just sometimes, follow a red Mustang into the dark because they care." The room erupted in applause. But Jax, standing near the back, simply smiled. He didn't need recognition. He'd already received the greatest reward, knowing that one night, one choice changed everything. And somewhere out there, another person might be watching, listening, feeling that same quiet tug in their chest. Maybe they'll act too. Maybe they'll save someone too. Because kindness doesn't roar. It watches, it waits, and when it must, it moves. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more real-life tales of courage, compassion, and second chances to millions around the world. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? Thanks for watching.